This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
So We All Be is honored to have on Brother SmITh.
Yeah, Emile Smith.
Brother Emile Smith. And you want to talk, we outside Dr. Francis CREss WElsIng's memorial service homegoing or celebration, as we will. And we're just talking about the influence of Dr. Welsing on the black community, waking up our awareness of what's going on in this system of white supremacy, racism. I just want you to share your thoughts about Dr. Welsing, if you don't mind.
Dr. Welsing was a beacon of what I would call just black consciousness and light, and just clarity and understanding of why we're in the condition we're in. Her work and Mr. Neely Fuller really helped open my mind to understand that racism isn't just someone saying you can't go to this water fountain, you can't have access to this, but it's power. It's a whole system. It's something that we can't escape, no matter how much education we may attain, how much money we attain, because it's something like she would say, we eat it, live it, breathe it every day. But there is a way to overcome it, and it's a matter of regaining our black consciousness, our true African identity, and not compromising that. You know, another thing too, as I read through more of her bio in depth that they had, this was a woman of great courage. And just coming here today and reading this reinforces in me that things that I may want to achieve or things that others want to achieve, we can do it if we have the courage. I look at much of what she was able to accomplish by the lives she was able to touch. It's because she stood, steadfast in her intelligence and in her opinion. She wasn't wavering. Now, everybody that came and talked about that said she would not waver no matter how much she was ostracized, pushed aside, even by her own people who she loved dearly and tried to help the most. Yet and still, she stayed steadfast. So I love her and thank her for that. And her life will stand as an example to me and some remind me when I'm going through ups and downs and when I'm thinking about wavering to stay steadfast. It's because of her and other ancestors like her, we can stand strong. And I think the thing is that we have to take what she taught us and move it ahead. We have to spread it, proliferate it throughout our community. And we have to go ahead and move to the next level and start implementing a lot of things, and most importantly, more black unity amongst us. Like she would say, stop the bickering, stop the fighting, the name calling, and let's spread love amongst us and work together to build a better us and start seeing us as a nation within a nation and as a people of color throughout this entire diaspora, throughout the world. We are black, we are people of Africa, we are the original people. I thank God for her.
I'm actually always think about what you were saying. She was a master teacher, master educator. How would you explain what she talked about with her life's work to let's say a 10-year-old? How would you explain it to a 10-year-old black child?
Interesting. I had foster kids. I had two foster teams in my early 30s that I took them to see her because I had shown them, I think, some DVDs or something. We had seen her. Right. And they was like, hey, she's in D.C. I was like, yeah, we're going to go see her. So we went to Howard. And my youngest, who was really into, sociology, man, we started looking, and one of the things she talked about at that time was that his generation, she said that his generation, she called it generation throwaway. And what she talked about was, she said, a lot of these kids that were born in homes or to people that weren't prepared to be parents and didn't want to make that transition. Right. So going back to your question, what would I call her? I would say she's a great social analysis. An analyst, I should say, social analyst. And the reason I say it is because she would look at every facet of society, whether it be economics, the politics. She could analyze it and show you its effect, its negative impact or disparate impact on African people, and how these things kept. There was once a seed was planted, it would just grow and continue, and how oftentimes us not even being conscious of it, we help oppress ourselves or continue these systems that would oppress us. So that, she was a great social analyst,
But how would you define like, let's say how would you define racism, white supremacy to a child? Like, how would you define it to them?
Well, I would explain them that to her, it's a system. And it's not just some actions of a few, but it's a system designed with different facets, different industries, be it financial, be it health, be it media, be it political systems that are designed to keep black people in a lower economic position and a lower position in life. It is one that's designed to constantly perpetuate inferiority within people of color.
So moving forward, what should we do as a people, as a collective, to make sure that her dream of having justice for people of color prevail on this planet?
Great question. Something I've been grappling with. Protests are fine. Those things, I say, let's say they're necessary, but they're not the end all be all. And she would say, Dr. Clark would say, that's fine, but we need more is action. And I think first and foremost, depending on where you're at in your development, for me, I have to say, I had to start with myself, holding myself accountable, and being vigilant based on the things I've learned. First of all, protecting my own physical and mental and emotional health, then focusing on my finances, then focusing on spreading that information, the information I've learned, to my friends and family. One of the things I focus on now is, families spread out all over, we busy and whatnot, but what I've said is in my family, I've organized, say, hey, once a quarter, we're all gonna get together with a potluck dinner, and we're gonna come together and we're gonna talk about some of our ancestors have passed on. We're gonna pull out the books. So teaching our children the history of our families and also talking about people like Dr. Wells, spreading that information. And then that action is the next step. I'm still haven't totally mapped it out, but is to talk about, okay, how do we bring our material wealth and other our mental, intellectual capacity, bring that together to start putting something in action, whether that be buying property together, developing co-ops, so that we can go ahead and again develop our own self-sustaining unit as a people, and working with others that have the same mindset or the same will to say, I don't know how to do this, but let's put our heads together to try to figure this out.
Thank you, Brother Swift, so much. In the words of the great Washingtonian, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing them.
Thank you.